Hey, this is Brian Falchuk from Boston, Massachusetts in the United States of America. I want to give a shout out to the InsurTech Business Series, Falumi and Damola. What you are doing to help move the industry forward in the African continent, but also more broadly for the industry at large, is so incredibly important. As I think about the future of our industry, it's conversations like the ones you're having that will help us move forward. So congratulations on the success of the show. Please keep at it.
Hi, everybody. I'm sure that you've had an amazing weekend. My weekend has been fantastic. How was yours, Damola?
Quite chilled. It was more of a family time. My extended family, we actually had sort of like a get together. I would like to say get together.
Nice.
So it's been a while something like that to actually happen. So we all just came together and just celebrate. I was happy to see everybody, and I mean we had a good time. So it was fun.
Wow, I would love to have something like that, man. But my family members are scattered. How I thank God's intervention for that to happen. But okay, that was good though.
We still had to maintain the whole, social distancing and just be cautious about how we related with each other, as much as possible. Definitely, I wanted to hug each other and be more close and enjoy ourselves, but just being able to see each other after all the while, it's just quite nice. Yeah.
All right. So we're going to be having somebody amazing on our podcast. As a matter of fact, some of the conversations that we've had has been very interesting. Unfortunately, this person couldn't join our IBS conference, but we are so excited to have him on board on our podcast.
Yes, we are going to be speaking with the amazing Dr. Robin Kiera. He said we shouldn't call him Dr. Robin. He said Robin is fine. Robin Kiera, a superstar when it comes to the InsurTech space around the world. Very popular on LinkedIn. He's the CEO of Digital Scouting. Digital Scouting is a consultancy company in Germany. And they have a blog which is super, super amazing. And it does these weekly interviews with amazing guests from around the world on LinkedIn. It's live on LinkedIn and a lot of other platforms. It's always interesting to connect with Robin Kiera.
All right. So I'm sure that you would enjoy this conversation. So don't go anywhere. Stay tuned. Thank you for joining us, Dr. Robin. How are you today?
I'm fine, and please call me Robin because otherwise I think my father stands behind me.
Okay, so Robin is. So how have you been, Robin?
I'm fine. How are you?
Awesome. I'm actually good. And I know that it's been an interesting beginning of the year with coronavirus still spreading actively, but we're looking forward to the rest of the year as good and better prepared than 2020. Before you delve into insurance, I'd like you to introduce yourself.
Oh, thank you very much. I'm a recovering insurance agent. So I started my career in insurance as selling insurance policies on the couches of the people of my hometown. Before that, I worked for a large family office of a large industrial family in Germany, but my insurance career started as an insurance agent. I quickly then went, because I always complained nothing is digital, they put me into the headquarters and say, okay, then you change it. So I led large-scale projects in insurance and finance, ended up also in the IT department at some point and had some responsibility there. And what's really, really funny is that at some point I left the industry, went to banking and startups, and I still had some relationship with the industry. And with the outside view and with the full intention of never returning back, I began to hold keynotes keynotes about the pain points in the industry, like 3-4 years ago. And I was like the insider that talked about the problems of the industry. And I was pretty alone at that point in time, at least in Germany. And I always, when I went on stage and I put also a lot of stuff on social media, I always told myself, Robin, if you never get a job in this industry again, I don't care. We need to talk about the problems. The problems were we had no apps. Our apps we had were bad. We were not on social media. We have a problem with, the way we sell insurance policies through our sales agents, me being a former one. That was that. And I founded a small blog just actually to have a place where I could put all my rants and the rants of my friends. And this blog exploded. It's called Digital Scouting. And now we are not only a blog anymore, but actually a consulting company that helps insurers and banks and large sales organizations around the world to modernize strategy, modernize digital strategy, sales forces, and also their marketing departments. We have hundreds of thousands of followers, millions of views each month. It has been quite a ride, that's for sure.
Wow, that's amazing. Yeah. On Spot on Insurance, I was a guest on Spot on Insurance podcast recently, and we were speaking to Ted and Arlene, and we told them about engaging you and things like that. And he said, "Hey, Robin is a superstar when you're talking about the insurtech space, around the world." But you talked about starting off as an agent. How much of that experience affected what you do today, and also what has been your view of that time and the agency space right now?
Currently, I'm a consultant, or we have a consulting company, even though I do not like the term. Nobody likes consultants. Nobody likes to say somebody else think. But what gives me the big advantage of me is, of us, we are 30 people right now, is I can walk in a room of sales agents, and at the beginning they hate me because they think I'm a typical consultant. But then I really can talk about the reality on the ground because I know it. I really know it. I've been there. I've done it. I've been, almost in tears because I missed the sales target. I've been euphoric because I made a huge sale and I felt like a king of Germany for 2 days. All of these feelings and emotions, all insurance sales agents or salespeople around the world go through. I had the positive, the good, bad, and the ugly. And what I always try to do is I try to help my former colleagues and really may say, okay, when you're a good guy or girl, you want to help your clients, here are the tools, tactics, and tricks how you can sell more, quicker, better, and become a valuable part of the community you live in. And so without my hard times as an insurance sales agent, I wasn't the worst, but I wasn't surely not the best. I can now really help these people with my other expertise I gained throughout the decade. 3 years ago, I thought insurance policies will be sold mainly via internet very, very quickly. And we see this with simple products. But ironically, good sales, physical sales agents and brokers still are super strong. And I see also why, because they have the trust of clients and there are complex products out there, like certain life insurance in the commercial space, or having a concept of actually helping your client become safe, secure, maybe even wealthy, and that takes more than algorithms currently can achieve. But what they can achieve is becomes better and better, and we see this around the world actually. But nevertheless, super smart, engaging agents and brokers will be around for a very long time. I'm pretty sure about that.
How do you compare those times to now, especially with the growing number of insurance technology in the past years? If you look back at when you were an agent and now that you actually engaged in fintechs, insurtechs, and you are actively in that space, how do you compare then that experience to now?
Hey, this is Brian Falchuk from Boston, Massachusetts in the United States of America. I want to give a shout out to the InsurTech business series, Falumi and Damala. What you are doing to help move the industry forward in the African continent, but also more broadly for the industry at large, is so incredibly important. As I think about the future of our industry, it's conversations like the ones you're having that will help us move forward. So congratulations on the success of the show. Please keep at it.
There have been changes, at least in the market where I'm in. So the amount of digital tools that help agents and brokers in their daily work, like the computer software they use, they have no smartphones. I mean, when I was there, the standard phone, I mean, it's not, and it's not 100 years ago. It's just only a few years ago. The industry was so behind that we only had dumb phones and no smartphones. And now the technology has become better. The consulting process has become better, but there hasn't been no qualitative change. So still, we try to sell insurance policies because the headquarter tells us to. It's January, and in January we should sell accident insurance or liability insurance, and then they expect us to go to our clients and sell them what they told us to sell and not what the client actually wants. And that's a big qualitative difference. When we look at super successful agents, that's what they have been doing for at least, 500 years since the first policy was issued, to really go to the client and ask them and try not to sell them something, but to see what their needs are. This sounds like a very cheesy brochure, what I'm still talking right now. But when I look at agencies around the world that are super successful for a long time, they do not, go there and try to force the client a product. They try to see what's the situation of the client and then to actually help them with products. And the irony of this is, if you do it like that, not pushing it down the throat of your client, but actually helping them, you sell more.
That's true. I have been an agent for 5+ years myself, and I hear you loud and clear, and it's something that is quite true. It's going to be interesting to hear your thoughts as regards customer experience now as well, because like you rightly mentioned, a lot of things have changed from then even till now. In the past couple of years, technology has enabled a lot of things, especially in the insurance value chain. And definitely the customer experience. Because the customer, again, is demanding for something different. They are looking at experiencing in other places in the banking sector. They are seeing how they are engaging a lot of other apps or other financial services, and they are saying, hey, why can't my insurance be this flexible and easy and friendly? How do you think that we can get the whole, customer experience right?
What is the reality of a society around the world? If we look at giants like Amazon or the regional similar players like that, like Otto around here, you order something, you don't like it, you send it back. Really easy. What we have, I have an insurance claim currently going on. Really, 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 really clear what happened. Nothing complicated. And I'm waiting since month. That's unbearable. To be quite honest, and I love insurance, but I'm really, really getting annoyed. And I think in these times and days, we need to do a better job in 3 categories. First, we need easy products. I do not want to read the conditions of the policy. I do as an insurance nerd, but actually, as a client, I don't want. I want that this thing goes. If I buy a car, I want that this car drives. It should drive fast. But I don't care what kind of engine it is in there. I really do not care. I want that this thing works. And that's what the clients expect of our products. They should be simple. Are you going to pay me or not when I have the claim? Second, we need easy processes. I actually want, when I submit a claim, that I get an information within minutes. And if it's complex, maybe days, but not months. So easy products, easy process. And the last, we need to become parts of the daily lives of our clients. We need to be on their mind when they have a problem. They need to identify us as a solution and not as a lesser evil. Super important is financial sustainability, financial literacy, and financial freedom. Things around the world, insurers could play a great role. Because we know a lot of things about money, why do we not share this information with our clients?
I remember having to be on the panel at one of our professional forum, and I think I also mentioned having easy products. For instance, I really wouldn't want to stress myself getting a cab when I could just get one on Uber. And the process is seamless. It really doesn't have any faults. And I remember telling them that I think today's generation keeps looking for the laziest way to get things done. So why do I have to go through all of the hassles of putting in my chassis number and all of that? So I totally agree with you. However, how do you think that we can further teach our customers financial sustainability, literacy, and all of that. There are a lot of people that are underserved and that don't actually have that educational background about financial freedom. So, how do we bring that into their communicate that daily to them?
Well, I think that this, the topic of financial literacy and financial freedom is a topic around the world, in the West, in the East, in the North, in the South. It's nothing, I think large parts of society around the world are underserved. If we look at statistical data, it's simply the fact. And how should we do it? We should do it in a way where the people, to generate content, texts, videos, audio like this podcast, for example, in a way people really like consuming it. It's a no-brainer. Let's do it what the client likes. Let's build a car the client wants to drive and not the engineer. And I think that's a big, big difference. We have been the engineers in the past. We have written white papers and policies, hundreds of pages, and nobody reads that. Let's really put our knowledge in a format the client, the customers actually like and digest. And and if that means TikTok or some new, funny platform, then it's our duty to our clients to go all into that.
Yeah, it's funny that you mentioned TikTok there, because I know that you're quite active on TikTok. This links me to a question I wanted to ask. The insurance industry is known to be a certain way. That's always been a certain way. And then all of this talks about technology, about innovation. It almost seems like you want them to pivot from something that they've always done for hundreds of years. And insurance companies are slow to do that, and some even repulsive to that idea. Is that a fair point from their own point of view to always say, this has always worked, so why change it? Or it's almost like a necessity, things have to change? Looking at all of this conversation about financial literacy and inclusion and things like that.
Well, Nokia didn't want to change. Neckermann, which is a local multi-billion-dollar company, didn't want to change. There are a lot of companies that did not want to change because of certain reasons, and they're gone. And if you look at the insurance industry, we have seen in certain ecosystems around the world and consolidation. So we have seen brands disappear. And if you look at a period of 100 or 200 years, you have seen a tremendous disappearance in the insurance industry. So it's not that we still have the same companies around than 500 years ago. We have a lot of change there. New companies come, old ones go away. And the only question I would ask an insurance executive when he says, do we need to do it because we're successful? I say, I doubt that we are successful. Let's look at our numbers. Come on, we are growing at least, in Central Europe, 1%, 2% a year. Okay, that's better than travel currently, like minus 50. But why aren't we doing everything that we have hyper growth? Why can't an insurer grow with 25, 50%? And if we look at the East, at Ping and Zhong'an, if we look at use cases in other countries, you have these cases. So when you do not want to change in a world that's changing, the world will kick you off its edges. And I think we have a lot of examples historically. In the eye of a storm, it's quiet. And that's why a lot of insurance executives see, our numbers aren't too bad, but they don't see that they're actually in the middle of a storm.
That's the way to go, really. We have to keep changing with the time. Insurance in Africa is currently developing, and we are looking at different brands in China, for instance, Asia, or in the European market. How do you think that we could learn from those markets?
Well, first and foremost, I think we all can learn from each other. I have seen some impressive use cases in the finance space or in the insurance space coming out of Africa. So I think we should all learn from each other. That's my main concern. If I would be an insurance executive, despite the size of the organization, I would try to get the best ideas, tools, and tactics from around the world. I would see, what can I learn from China? What can I learn from Zhong'an, Ping An, from China Life? What can I learn from Allianz, State Farm, Geico, or smaller companies that are not so much known, but super interesting? And I think that's what I would try to have an open mindset. What does it mean? In case COVID is gone finally, let's travel again. Let's meet. Let's go to conferences around the world. And if you are, as a company, cannot do it because you're very busy in doing your business, then find people that do the scouting for you and that pump you up with great ideas from around the world and also from outside the industry.
I mean, it's all about learning and getting new ideas because, I mean, like you said before, you have to change, you have to improve, you have to do things differently. So 2020 was, I mean, the year of the COVID. But again, for insurance, especially in SureTech, it's quite interesting, a lot of the activities that happened, right? But before we go into a lot more details about some of the things that happened last year in 2020 for the SureTech insurance space, what's your take on the whole year 2020 when it comes to the insurance space generally, even with the COVID and everything?
I have two sides of a medal. The one is I was blown away in the spring that the insurance industry around the world more or less was capable of sending all people home, going to remote. That was great. We went into crisis mode. We did it. Super. The second, the negative side is I've not seen a single insurer, besides struggling and firefighting, putting anything substantial, innovative out there. And that's something I really regret. Why did we lose the momentum in the summer? Why are we again talking about the same topics in the beginning of 2021? We talked in the beginning of 2020 and the beginning of 2019. We are capable of so many great things, and we proved this in spring. Why can we not use this inertia, this momentum, and crush it, expand our value chains, change the way how we sell, improve the way we market, and become parts of the daily life of our clients and sell a lot more and help them a lot more?
Interesting what you said there. But when you look at some of the activities of insurtechs around the world, I mean, a lot of insurtech companies, IPOing and getting investments and things like that. Do you think that those kind of activities could really just spur the general industry to do a lot more, or it's just an outlier?
No, I think you always have first movers, then the regular crowd and laggards. I think it's only for executives that really want to grow and that want to use opportunities. And if you don't want to do this, it's fine. But sooner or later, your cost base will crush you and kill you internally. Not to do anything is not a no-risk option. It's, I think, the riskiest thing you can do currently.
So, okay, what would you advise that insurance do going forward? I mean, this is 2021, and I know that our first episode talked about the strategies. But judging by these negatives, what do you think should be the take-home for insurance companies in 2021? What should they run with during this period? Like, what can they do better to, serve your customers?
First of all, listen to the podcast, subscribe to this podcast. And I think that's super important. Why not? Because you need to get outside view information, and you guys do a great job and putting this together, getting people on board. I think that's super important. And to really, as an executive or as a decision maker, or as an agent and broker, or insurance professional, to be a practitioner of these things that we talk. When somebody talks about blockchain, try an app out. If somebody talks about TikTok, download it today. You need to practice these things, and you need to get constant flow of input, of information and inspiration. If you only take away one or two great ideas we had here today, that would make me totally happy. That's one thing. Then what we have a big problem, I'm not sure how it's in your ecosystem, we have a big problem in overaged workforces. So where you have a certain demographic group, certain backgrounds. We also have a gender issue in the insurance industry. So I think it's really, we need to hire differently, and not because of quotas, but because of hiring different experiences in life. And I think that's something we have been very good in the sales department, but very bad at internal departments. And there we need to become better, because a lot of insurance executives asks me, how can I get these people on board, or how can I change? You need to change your workforce. And by the way, you need to start on board level. You need to start on board level to change there. And last but not least, to really try things out. I know for insurance companies, it's a total horror to think about that we should try something out without having a 5-year plan, but just do it, try it out. There's no shame in anything if it comes from a right heart. And let's not forget what's the core of our industry. We are there in the darkest moments of the lives of our clients, in sickness, death, and destruction. And we do so many great things, paying billions and billions and billions of dollars, euros, and other currencies out there, and helping our clients rebuilding homes, getting treatment for sickness, and so on. And why do we never talk about it? And I think that's the fourth point. Let's talk more about what we do good, not in a cheesy way and celebrating ourselves, but it's more like, let's talk about our clients and their stories and how we help them, and maybe we can win more clients with that.
You touched on something there that we as well are quite passionate about. So, I mean, yes, the gender imbalance in the industry. We started off this project, the InsurTech Business Series, Women in Insurance Project, right? So the insurance industry is very much male dominated. And so we thought that it got to a point that we were speaking to mostly men, right? And so we thought that, hey, actually, there are women who are doing amazing things in the industry, even here on the African continent. And so it was a conscious effort to reach out to a lot more women and speak to people doing amazing things, who are managing directors of insurance companies, leading trade associations in the insurance space, and who are top stakeholders in the space. And it's been quite interesting to hear about their experiences. People learn a lot about them. So it's quite interesting, a lot of things about the ideas and even challenges that even are there for the women in the industry. But creating a lot of these engagements and conversations will definitely push a lot of changes. And I also wanted to ask, right? You mentioned again as regards trying new things. What can the insurance industry or an insurer benefit from being on new platforms like TikTok or even any of the new social media platforms? What can they benefit in terms of creating that new feel about insurance?
All about where the clients are. Where are my clients? Which people can we help? And it's not about the new fancy social media thing because Robin tells so. It's about where are the numbers? And if an application and social media platform is the number one downloaded app on all platforms, on all devices around the world for several years, and it's exploding, maybe our clients are there. And when we look at the numbers, every country is a little bit different, but we see that older age groups are entering. And I have built an TikTok channel just as a proof of concept with in German speaking, so it's limited, with 100,000 followers now almost, and with millions and millions and millions of views each month. We are one of the leading finance channels here. But again, it's just a proof of concept to say if a person like me with a radio face can become a star on TikTok, I think insurance with millions and millions of dollars can. And I want to add something. We are one of the most disliked industries in the world, even though we have one of the most important products in the world. We spend billions and billions in marketing. Obviously not in the correct way, because if it would work, people would not despise us in as an image. And there are a lot of studies on that. And why should people go on TikTok and other channels? It's because your clients are there. And if not, and I think that's the super thing. You need to be where the clients are. And your message, which is the message of, securing, we secure you, we help you managing your risk in your life. We cannot, if you go into a house where nobody's there and you shout it there, it's great, you shout it, but nobody listens. You need to go into the houses and where the people are. And if it means you need to go to TikTok, then you need to go to TikTok. And again, if I can do it, insurers can do it too.
Okay. I think I kind of enjoyed what you just said now, and it sort of makes sense. I've been privy to one of Geico's ad, and it was fantastic. It just, I can't remember what the advert was about, but it wasn't the general insurance adverts that I was used to or I've been exposed to. And at the end of it, it was talking about motor insurance. And I'm like, oh boy, it has to be one of the most interesting adverts I've seen from insurance. I think that in terms of that, possibly appealing to the perception of the customers, which I think is key. But in the aspect of regulation, don't you think that that's one of the main challenges of insurance in terms of how they tend to downplay some of these innovations and creativity for
No, I know this
company.
hypothesis and I hear these arguments a lot, but I strongly disagree why regulation is a huge opportunity. Because there are two ways you can deal with regulation. One can be a scapegoat for not doing nothing, having large departments of lawyers sitting around. That job is to say no all the day, even though it has no place in reality. I know some regulators in the US, in Germany, and in the Middle and Near East, and ironically, I needed to learn this, but I had a prejudice when I started doing this, when I started a few years ago with more of this public role that I have now. I always thought they're super old and super conservative, don't know anything, and still use chalkboards. That was completely wrong. I met some of the brightest minds in the insurance industry, super nice, with young, motivated staff trying to help the clients. Regulators you can talk to. Not in all cases, sometimes accidents happen there, but nevertheless, you can talk to the regulators. And regulation is an opportunity because it hinders others to enter, but we need to use it as an opportunity to get as much done as possible. I mean, I just talked to a reinsurer who is hesitant of starting a webinar for its clients because it could, lead to cartel regulation issues. It's totally BS. I almost laughed when I heard it because it's so unreal, but these arguments really prevent people of doing the right thing. And I think that's the great thing about this podcast is to say, guys and girls, go out there, do not break the law with regulation, but let's not somebody tell you what you not to do something because he says regulation. It needs to be a good argument, it needs to be based, but it's not, let not stop you through that. And in case you doubt it, ask the regulator, go to them, ask them. And sometimes they say, no, good for the client, do it.
Actually, just do it, like you said. And so before we let you go, I know that one of the new things that we are beginning to see around the world, even here in Africa and Nigeria, is partnerships, collaborations with ecosystems. How do you think that this can work for the insurance industry, going forward? COVID has happened. How do you think that ecosystems can play, when you are looking at the distribution of insurance on
ecosystems are not the new shiny thing you do and have a new buzzword. That's not what ecosystem and platforms are about. It's about how can I, as insurer, sell to clients otherwise I do not reach, or to shorten the sales cycle. It's all about selling, which a great and beautiful product. I think that's the baseline of it. What I see currently, especially our clients doing when we talk about ecosystem and platforms, is to build small and mid-sized partnerships with other companies that have a sizable client base, that have no competition or competing products, a lot super automated on API by basis, on automated or half semi-automated up and cross-selling in the homepage or the app of the other person, or even the offline selling place, and then having not one big partner, but 2,500 different partners. And then at some point, this is unstoppable, because when you get as a mid-size insurer, you have, 1,000 policies a day. Maybe that's a little bit too much, but let's say 100 policies a day, you get more. And then through dozens of partnerships, suddenly you get 10 more. That's 10% growth. And if you do that then for a very long time, that can add up. And I think that's where the magic is. Platform and ecosystem is a great word, but super important. It is in the end lots of one-on-one partnerships with others, but automated on digital basis. And then you can reach growth rates that we only know normally from tech companies.
Hi, everybody. My name is Bente, and I'm the founder and CEO of MTech, and we are based in Kenya. I am very passionate about the disruption of the insurtech space, and together with our model MTech, we are actually serving insurance platform and also white label solutions for the industry. Please keep on listening to InsurTech Business Series podcast, and I hope to see all of you at the conference in December.
Thank you so much, Dr. Bob, for coming on our podcast. We'd like you to tell people how they can reach out to you. LinkedIn, your blog, which is actually an interesting one because I just learned that. And, other channels, TikTok as well, as I've learned today.
On TikTok, we have a German channel, so that's only for the German audience. Approach us on LinkedIn or write me an email, robin@digitalscouting.de. We help insurers and banks around the world with these topics we talked about. Do not hesitate to reach out. We do also virtual keynotes, so if you have a team in the home office and you want to have a keynote there, I'm happy to do a remote virtual one. That's always fun. Yeah, do not hesitate to reach out, and again, do subscribe this podcast here and leave some nice reviews. Not for me, but for these amazing hosts.
Thank you very much.
Hope to meet you this year when this Corona stuff is over at some great, exciting conference in Africa. I really want to do this last year already.
Yeah, definitely. We are hoping to host a physical conference this year, and hopefully by then, by November, a lot of these things will be over. So
I will bring some Germans with me. Thank you very much. Have a great one.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure speaking.
Hey, this is Brian Falchuk from Boston, Massachusetts in the United States of America. I want to give a shout out to the InsurTech business series, Falumi and Damola, what you are doing to help move the industry forward in the African continent, but also more broadly for the industry at large is so incredibly important. As I think about the future of our industry, it's conversations like the ones you're having that will help us move forward. So congratulations on the success of the show. Please keep at it.
Okay, welcome back. Wow, that was power-packed. Yeah, that was power-packed. It's interesting to see how very much related our markets are. A lot of the challenges that we're seeing in our market are some of the things that even are evident in other markets. Mm-hmm. Look at what he said about the claim that he's pursuing, which is unpaid now for about 6 months. Those are some of the conversations that we're still having in the market now, how insurers can do more in terms of payment of claims, which will definitely build trust. Quite interesting what he had to say about how we need to create simple products, simple process, so that all of these hassles are not there, because people are looking at what is being done in other spaces. Why is insurance still left behind? Yeah, so it's quite interesting what he had to say and all of that. What about you? What stood out for you from all of those conversations?
As a matter of fact, I like this analogy of using a house, and then you're paying a lot of money, and then you're going to shout in a house where you don't even have your audience there. That's like waste of resources. And honestly, I think that's what most of us do in the industry. It just seems like we're making noise, but it doesn't seem like we have listeners or audiences that are willing to hear what we have to say. Or, like I've heard a lot of people go on and, they spend money on TV stations, advertisement on TV and all of that. I can't remember the last time I watched normal TV, but I'll constantly be on Twitter. I'll constantly be on Instagram. And I would probably pay more attention to bands on those two platforms on WhatsApp than, having to tune in my TV station to a random channel singing about something. Or let's even give an instance, people that watch Europa League or Premier League or Champions League, that's another way to get people's attention. The last time I was watching, I can't remember the match though, but I saw Allianz adverts on the field, and I'm like, of course, I know this brand. I do know this brand. And they didn't even have to spend a lot, but just the fact that it was in a place where a lot of people pay attention to, a lot of guys tend to, in fact, these days, guys and ladies as well tend to watch, football matches. And I like that it was able to, point that out. Like, you need to re-strategize, refocus, find out where your listeners are, find out where your customers are, reach out to them via that medium. Don't stick to the old ways that you've been used to. And that for me was one of the many things that I enjoy. And I think that also this podcast sets out to do that, because we understand that there's that gap in the market. And so having as much as possible to have these conversations at the end of the day helps to set up all of those are priorities right, which I think is really important as a person to pay attention, to listen to it. I know having these conversations, I still go back sometimes to write down some of the things that most of our guests have talked about. Sometimes they help you refocus and re-strategize on the things that really count in the industry, which I think is really important.
Absolutely. I mean, it's almost like we have a master class every 2 weeks, right?
Exactly. And it's free. What's the deal?
Yeah. Thank you very much to Robin for sharing as much as she did. It was a pleasure speaking with him. I mean, and what you said now is just there. That's it. We have to change from the whole idea of they will come to me. You have to go to your customers. If your customers, like you said, if your customers are on TikTok, for example, which is quite big in Nigeria, actually, a lot of challenges here and there. I've seen social media very much abuzz with all of these challenges and things that are up and trending. How can the insurance industry tag on some of these things and create value, and draw the audience? And one thing about that is TikTok, for example, has a demographic that is sort of excluded, let's say, from all of these financial services when it comes to insurance.
Yes.
That population, that demography, that younger demography, they're not keen on insurance. A lot of them don't even know about it. How can you use these platforms, for example, to educate, not doing ads on TV and saying, yes, at the end of the year, you say, okay, did you make efforts to educate the public? Yes, we did. What's the evidence? You show them that you paid X million naira to NTA to show your ad, or you paid for a program to air on TVC or whatever. How do you get to the platform where those customers are? If it's Instagram, how are you creatively engaging them and educating them on those platforms, creating content that they can relate with, and things like that. So I think that's quite key. That communication aspect is something that we definitely need to get right.
Did I say, let's just use Robin. Thank you so much for coming again on our podcast. The conversation was amazing, I must confess. It was not just insightful, but I was able to also pick out some things from that conversation. And I think that it would be smart for majority of us to run with it. It looks like a doable thing. It's an innovative idea, and I think that is important. And if you have questions, feel free to contact any one of us. You can reach Adedamola Oloko on LinkedIn. You can also reach me if you follow me, Victoria Olorunmola, on LinkedIn as well. And you can also send a direct message to our InsurTech Business Series page on LinkedIn. We are available on other social media platforms, Instagram as well as Twitter. So we'll be happy to hear from you. Thank you once again.
Yeah.
We hope that you enjoy your week.
You can't say thank you enough, really. Our community is growing, definitely. And we're happy about some of the conversations that we are having. And we definitely hope, like Robin said, if you just pick one thing away out of the 20 episodes that we've had, that's fine by us, right? The idea about the whole thing is, yes, we want to create all of these conversations in order to spur action. And those are some of the things that we did, even from our conference last year. Mm-hmm. Yes, we had all of those conversations, but it's about action. We have said these are the things that needs to be done. These are the things that we can change. For professionals who are listening right now, it's about taking action. These are the solutions that have been given that works or can work. How can you implement it? Take all of those ideas to your bosses, to your board, and say, hey, we can do it this way and get a better result. We can do it this way and see how we can do more, and change things and be better. That is the idea. That is the aim. That is the goal. And little by little, like I said during the conference again last year, it's not a sprint. It's a long distance race. So do your bits. And everybody, by the time each and every one of us do our bits, we'll definitely continue to do our bits, bringing out this knowledge so that we can grow the industry and take it to the place where it should be. So thank you again, and stay safe. Coronavirus is real.